Hey, welcome back. I'm Dr. Ryan Kime, emergency physician and holistic nutritionist. I'm here to help you with your gut health so you can live your optimal life. I think today is a very special episode because I'm going to show you exactly what I do throughout my day to try to heal my gut, eat gut-friendly foods, and live my best life. And I think you're going to be surprised when we go through some of these details that it's more basic than complicated. But let's try jump in. I want to make sure that I share everything with you so you see how I have completely changed my life and am living better now at age 50 than I have at age 30. It's not a real world. This is a very real world version. There's no extremes in this. It's basic building blocks and foundational habits that make a big difference over time. Here's a quick tip for you before we get started. How about thinking about start your morning with water and minerals? Yep, before coffee or food, I use filtered water, electrolytes, a squeeze of lemon, and I hydrate to help support my digestion and wake up gently with my body. Other common ways are some morning teas with peppermint, spearmint, gut-friendly dandelion teas with honey. They're all great in the morning. How about my morning routine? Well, I wake up about 4:30 without an alarm clock. That just seems to have been a natural occurrence for me since I stopped practicing emergency medicine at the bedside and flipping my schedules. Within the first few minutes after waking without an alarm, I go over and have some warm water, as I just discussed, with some electrolytes and or maybe some tea with some honey as well. Then do some rebounding. Very good for my lymphatic system, detoxing. It starts to wake me up. I'll do a couple of other stretching or movement exercises to kind of get the energy going and just wake up a little bit. There's no goal. That's why I can't describe it further. I shake my arms, I shake my body. There's no number of reps, there's no number of sets. It's just a few 5, maybe 10 minutes at the max. Just kind of wake up and get the blood moving. Then after that, I've gone over and I take a few minutes outside, whether it's cloudy or not, and I start to say some affirmations with my hand over my chest to help balance my brain and get it directed for the day. Think of myself as powerful, complete, healthy, whole, capable, confident, humble, respectful, polite, loving, caring, and sharing my love from my chest. I then come back inside. At this point, I would usually check some emails or some social media to help schedule out my day. If there was some interruption, then I would put it down and have an uninterrupted breakfast. I usually like some scrambled eggs with potatoes, right? I will roast some Yukon Gold potatoes. I think sweet potatoes are a little bit hard for me in the morning to digest, and the eggs are almost a complete nutritional source without the vitamin C. If I choose not to have to cook and I want something a little faster, I usually have a basket of hard-boiled eggs. So I'll have a couple of those and then make a collagen-rich smoothie with greens, collagen, ashwagandha, maca root. I We'll also even put in some berries and maybe even some healthy fats. If I need some more calories, if I'm extensively working, I might even add in a little bit of nut butter. Uh, I can put a splash of guava juice. That's my secret to any smoothie. A little bit of guava juice makes it taste great. So there you go. That's my morning smoothie and routine as I wake up. Then I have lunch at about 11 after I'm done working. I take an early break and I eat a big meal. I make sure I have a lean protein source, let's say grass-fed beef or a wild-caught salmon. I will then roast or saute some greens often. I love broccolini or asparagus, but really all vegetables will work for me. There's not too many I don't like. And then this is when I have kind of a longer acting carbohydrate. This is where I'll add in some quinoa with some wild rice, or I'll have some sweet potatoes here, and they're all cooked in avocado oil or olive oil. And then I use grass-fed butter as well if I need it. I always try to take a 10-minute walk after the meal if possible. It's really good for digestion and improving your metabolism and helping regulate your blood sugar. I don't hydrate during meals. So I want to get three 32-ounce uh, jugs of water in me, but I don't do it 45 minutes before or after meals. This helps not dilute down the stomach acid or the bile salts and preserve. I used to always do this. I used to always, when I was first transitioning, I made that big mistake. I'm like, oh, I'm dehydrated. And I'm doing this exercise and I'm trying to flush my body out. I'm trying to get healthier. Water, 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 or 70% water. And this is coming from a physician, right? Board certified trained. What a foolish mistake. No, actually, I think when I look back at it, I had terrible bloating, terrible distension. I bet my digestion was horrible. I bet I wasn't absorbing nutrients because everything was diluted down. I mean, I literally felt like I had the Thanksgiving dinner. I'd just eaten one every single night, and that was from drinking too much water. I was like, oh, well, that's the time. I'm going to nourish myself. I'm going to eat and I'm going to drink. I wouldn't make that mistake. I definitely think you need to hydrate, keep up with the electrolytes, but keep it outside of the meal times. And I think you'll have some better success with your digestion. Uh, I usually work out in the afternoon after I'm done with work. So I'll have a post-it workout snack. That's usually a piece of lean protein, some creatine, and it may even be a little carbohydrate like a banana, some nuts, some cheddar cheese. Occasionally have some yogurt or potentially some apple slices with butter, but usually it's a protein source and some nuts and cheese. And then dinner comes very quickly thereafter, right? I'm gonna have, and the workout's only 4 times a week. I'll get into that, but the dinner is like 4:30 or 5, and then I'm in bed at 8. Yeah. I eat early, digest, don't eat 2 hours before bed, and then lights off. I'm exhausted by 8 o'clock at night. I go to bed when the sun goes down. Not a problem. I do have problems sleeping, and we'll talk about that. So at dinner, I'm usually lighter and I have less in my carbs. I do have a carb requirement. I've kind of learned what I need and do somewhat intuitive eating, and I balance them mostly in the first 2 meals and less so at night. If I'm behind and I feel I will add, but typically not, so it's going to be a lighter meal with some brothy soup, some lean protein, some roasted root vegetables, some healthy fats. I usually like to have the fish at night rather than the steak if it's possible. And then post dinner snack, it's almost what I don't miss it with a heartbeat. It's my favorite. I have some L. reuteri, lactobacillus reuteri yogurt I make homemade. And then I add in some chia seeds, walnuts, raspberries, and some honey on top. I may add in some kefir, and it's delicious. I have it all the time. I think it's super healthy and beneficial for you, and it actually gives me a lot of satiety. Sometimes with the dinners, when I was on a stricter training protocol, I didn't feel as much satiety. There's no doubt with that. So it kills the bird. It fits all the checks all the boxes. Sleep routine. 45 minutes before you go to sleep, electronics are off. I don't have blue light glasses. I have a blue light blocking, and I give on my computer. I put on some nighttime jazz. It rotates. I use frequency music at night as well, whatever's feeling good at the moment. I will pick up some reading. I do some light stretching, maybe a little bit of light mobility, depending on what the day is and how I'm feeling in regards to my training. And then I say some affirmations to clear my head, and I try to rest. I try to elevate my legs in bed, especially if I have to take a nap. Putting your calves above your heart is so much, it stimulates your vagal nervous system and helps promote restoration. So that's another tip. In terms of what else I do besides eating to get in the best shape of my life at age 50, is I have a year-round training protocol that is really focused on skiing. So off-season training, I would hit maybe between 10 and 15,000 steps a day with 4 strength training sessions a week, hitting each body part twice. And the trainings would be anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes, depending on the warm up and so forth. And then in season, I continue with 3 times a week. It's more muscle activation because I'm so strenuous with the skiing. And I ski 5 times a week, 4 times a week, occasionally 5, for 4 to 6 hours at a time. Um, I also avoid seed oils. I try to focus on an 80% whole foods, gut friendly diet. When I deviate, I'm a little smarter than when I used to deviate. So I'd say the 20%. And I think that's incredibly important. You shouldn't overlook that. You should reward yourself. It should not be restrictive. If it's very restrictive and you feel like you're compromising everything, it won't sustain. So that's why I think it's an evolution. So initially, I would just go bananas. If I liked pistachio ice cream, that's what I got as my 20% off. And that's probably okay to start. But as I started to understand more about what the ingredients were doing to me and the artificial ingredients in these different ice creams and things I liked, I realized that even if I took a deviated for my allotted time and a 20% off my whole foods diet, I really didn't want to make these mistakes. You know, If I'm eating 80% whole foods over the week and 20%, that 20% is still affecting me. I don't want to become neurotic about it. I just started to rotate. So there were some better choices that allowed me a lot of fun with my food. I got a lot of pleasure with it. It was sweet or I enjoyed it for whatever moment, but I didn't have to get into that really artificially contrived pistachio ice cream. There wasn't anything wrong with the pistachio ice cream. It was just the way it was designed. So as you move forward, you will gain momentum. You see the results. What kind of results did I see? No bloating. I wasn't distended. I stopped passing gas. I actually had sustained energy. And I would advocate you starting on a whole foods diet and getting into a routine before you start fasting because there's too many changes happening and you want to start understanding how your body feels on a whole foods diet before you go into fasting because fasting is then going to start to elicit some cravings and you want to understand is that related to the addictions I was on with the artificial chemicals, the sugar I was addicted to, or actually am I nutrient depleted and I need more energy. And those are very important distinctions that you should learn as a foundational basis for your body if you want to have the goal of intuitive eating. Am I craving something or is it energy depleted and I need something? So anyway, keep going forward. So as I rotated out with 20%, I got a little healthier with the choices. I still love it. Thanksgiving, other times, I just enjoy myself. I don't want to be restricted, but I do want to be healthy. Um, and then in terms of cleanses, yes, I do. I started some cleanses. Again, I got a whole foods diet together, and then now I do a regular parasite cleanse, a heavy metal cleanse, a liver cleanse, a lymphatic detox cleanse. They're all on different schedules, but a couple of times a year. And then a support behind that with extra antioxidants, glutathione, NAD, and the precursors to that help support my liver health. And again, think of your body as a dynamic process. So if it is a clear pitcher of water that's muddy, right? It's a clear vase, clear glass. It's muddy water in. We're putting water in the top, and that's your body. Put in the good nutrients. Put in the good nutrients. This will eventually spill out. It'll become more dilute, less cloudy, less cloudy. So now the water you're pouring in looks as clear as the water that's in the vase. That's the idea. So that's what we're doing over the course of this schedule with the 80% with the movement. My energy is fantastic. Like I really wish that I knew this decades before. And if I was still practicing medicine, and I wouldn't because I don't want to argue with the pharmaceuticals, but anyone that wants to get healthy, your gut health, your nutrition has to be the first. It doesn't have to be some esoteric herbs. I think that's where people make a mistake. I think it's just really healthy, clean sources of great whole food nutrients that are alignment with your values and your ideas, and you're going to make success. Thank you so much for following along. I'll answer any of the questions you have in the chat, and I'll see you next time. I think the next video for my live stream is going to be how to reset after a bad week. I mean, aren't we all there? Had many, and I want to help you understand how to reset, what the symptoms to look for, what the signs to look for, and what protocol to follow. Thanks so much. Live inspired. Love to you all, and we'll see you next time. Bye.